Disneyland. The happiest place on Earth. And possibly the most expensive. We spent a few days exploring every inch of Disneyland California, from the classics like Pirates and Space Mountain, to the newer, shinier bits like Galaxy's Edge and the Toontown refresh. We even did the fantastic diming package, and had a very awkward, soundless encounter with Disney royalty Josh Tomorrow. Yes, that's him, and no, I don't have any audio. Honestly, we actually bumped into the chairman of the Disney parks, as well as Bob Iger. I know it was new. I was just working out the kinks. It was like day one of having my new microphones. But that's not the point. When am I going to bump into Josh Tomorrow again? Claire did all that talking, talked to him about gluten-free food, talked to him about the rides, what we liked, what we didn't like. Seemed a very nice bloke. I got none of it. Well, I got a video, as you can see. Yeah, but anyway, there you go. In this video, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about Disneyland, land by land, the rides, the food, the shows, the tips, the tricks, and the little bits we wish we'd known before going, and what it's really like being a Disney adult in a sea of sugar-crazed children. Oh, and this is just part one. Next time we'll tackle Disneyland California Adventure, including Avengers Campus, Pixar Pier, and Cars Land. Spoiler alert, it's my favourite too. Don't hate me. If you're gonna, do it in the comments down below. So, if you're planning your first trip, or just want to relive the magic, stick around, grab a Mickey-shaped snack, and let's dive into the original Disneyland park in all of its charming, chaotic glory. So this area is Disney's idea of 1900s small town America, which as a Brit just makes me think of Back to the Future before the clock tower gets wrecked. I believe it's based on the town that Walt Disney grew up in, Marceline, Missouri, as a child, and it's also the bit where they really start pumping in those bakery smells, like aggressively. I swear it's weaponized. It always makes me want a churro, but to be fair, if there's one thing that Disney does do well, it is the food, and the churros are pretty decent. This is also where you'll get your first opportunity to see the characters as you go in and enter. There's like before the main street itself, there's a circle, for lack of a better term. Wow, descriptive, Mark. And they tend to have a bunch of characters out there, so you get like Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Pluto, Goofy, just, you know, the Disney and friends there.
I'm just saying, I think that Minnie and Donald might be having breakfast somewhere else because they're not here.
Scandal. And also at the beginning of the day, they have a balcony, I believe, where they have the Disney characters like welcome you in. You can also get like trams and cars and stuff from this point, and you can take them down Main Street and drive down to the castle and back. We've done that. That was pretty decent. And you can also, in the many shops, you can get badges. Now, the first time we went, a couple years ago, it was Claire's birthday. She was 21 and a bit. You sure hate me for saying that. But you can get badges, so we went in, we got her a badge, and then you walk around with the badge, and everybody wishes you happy birthday. And they're free as well, and you can get them to write your name on it. I think they did Claire's, and they put like a little Mickey on the dot of the eye and stuff like that.
Happy birthday to you. Look, they're singing for you. There you go, happy birthday.
Thank you.
So talking about the shops, first up we've got the Emporium. It's basically the park's one-stop shop for everything Disney. Plushies, ears, t-shirts that you will never wear again. I've got a box of them in the other room, and I must have 15, 20 lounge flies and 20 t-shirts, and I might wear one when I go back. It's just burning money, but that's Disney in it. So there's overpriced mugs, you name it, blah, blah, blah. If you want to waste your money on Disney goods like we all do, Main Street's the place to probably do it. It will get busy at times, so bear that in mind. There are quite a shops scattered around the parks, and they will have similar merchandise. These shops are the biggest, but it does take up like half the street, and it all links together inside, so you'll probably walk in for like a fridge magnet and come out with a Spirit jersey and mild financial regret, as I just said. If you're after something sweet, there's Gibson Girl ice cream, big portions, solid flavors, gluten-free cones available if you ask, which Claire appreciated. I naturally tried hers. She didn't get to try mine, purely for research purposes, obviously. And it wasn't because it was hot, and we were stood around for ages waiting for the marching band, which again comes up and down Main Street, pretty decent.
Maybe get gluten-free ice cream.
Puffy ice cream?
Puffy ice cream.
Yeah, that's good.
What's all melted?
Because you've got hot fudge and hot day.
It's got to be quick with this. Oh. Beautiful.
In terms of rides, we've got Moments with Mr. Lincoln, I believe it's called. Now, look, I know what you're thinking. Why would I want to see a robotic Abraham Lincoln, especially as a Brit? That's fair. We didn't either, but in hindsight, I will sell it to you. It's air conditioned. You get to sit down and you'll leave feeling oddly patriotic about a country you don't even live in, at least if it's anything like the Hall of Presidents, which I'm assuming it is.
So Walt's apartment is famously above the firehouse here at Disneyland. And if you look up in the window, you'll see that there's a light on. That light is always on because I believe that when Walt used to stay on property, they knew when he was in by whether the light was on or not. So ever since they lost Walt, the light's been on and will stay on until the end of Disneyland.
Which will be the end of time.
Which will probably be the end of time in the apocalypse, yeah.
Also on Main Street is the Disneyland Railroad. Highly recommend. It does a full loop of the park with lots of little animatronic scenes, including some dinosaurs for no apparent reason other than dinosaurs. Let's face it, we all love dinosaurs. Great if your legs are falling off halfway through the day, or if you're just pretending to be on a scenic tour while eating a churro, which, as I said, banging, get one. If you're planning to watch the fireworks, Main Street is the classic spot. You get a great view of the castle and the buildings around you light up with projections. Just a warning though, people start sitting down for that thing like 3 hours early, which is wild, but also fair. I definitely have not done this to film it, and I've never made Claire wait around for it either. One thing I will say about the fireworks is, unlike Magic Kingdom, they, as I said before, they do pump them onto the front of the buildings going down Main Street, so if you can't see the castle like Claire has most of the time, because she's about 3'6", you can just look up at the facades of the buildings and you can see it there. Florida, you should take note, you should do it. Why do it in Disneyland but not Disney World? It's beyond me, but there you go. So yeah, that's Main Street. It doesn't have the thrill rides, but it does have charm, shops, snacks, and just enough nostalgia to make you cry into your churro if you're emotionally fragile like Claire. Well, if she could eat churros, which she can't, being gluten-free. That was a terrible joke to put in. Anyway, moving on. Now, Adventureland is where things start to feel a bit more humid. Lots of palm trees, drums in the background, and the faint sound of someone asking if the Dole Whip line is actually worth it. Short answer, yes, if you like soft serve. We didn't eat at any of the restaurants in this area though, although I have heard Bengal barbecue is popular if you're into meat on sticks. But we did tackle the rides, starting with the Jungle Cruise. A Disneyland original and arguably, that'll do, the most aggressive pun-based attraction on Earth. The skippers are the real stars here. Ours was fantastic, dry, sarcastic, and just self-aware enough to make the whole thing fun without having to try too hard.
Look around your feet for a missing cobra. Everybody goes, oh, we got Crocs! Or he's wearing Crocs right here. All right, friends, the moment you've all been waiting for. You've read about it, you've dreamt about it, you've seen it on the silver screen. The 8th wonder of the world. It's the backside of water! O2H!
O2H!
O2H! You're actually chanting with me.
Yeah!
Nobody's ever done that before.
I feel like you really enjoyed that one.
I don't know why. His puns were just, they're magnificent. They were really good today.
It's also one of the few rides where everything going wrong is kind of the point. I mean, animatronic elephants, collapsing temples, a guy stuck up a tree. It's chaos, but very controlled chaos, especially compared to Rise of the Resistance breaking down for the nth time in a single day. They say trackless rides are the future, but I'm not so sure. Maybe the future of long wait times with no guarantee you'll actually get on the damn ride. Then there's Indiana Jones Adventure. Now this is peak 90s Imagineering. The queue alone is an experience. Winding tunnels, skeletons, ominous warnings. Feels like it goes on forever, which would be annoying if it weren't so ridiculously detailed. The ride itself, absolute banger. Absolute banger. Fast, bumpy, loud, and somehow still surprises you even when you know what's coming. The only downside is the seating. If you've got bad knees or a sensitive spine, just brace. It's like off-roading in a Jeep driven by a caffeine-addicted archaeologist. Pro tip, don't put your phone or anything in your outside pocket, especially if you're on the outside. Use the little pouch in front, otherwise you'll lose it and you'll never get it back. Word on road is Dinosaur over in Florida's Animal Kingdom is turning into an indie ride, which, while it's sad we'll no longer get to hear Dr. Grant Seeker's awful plan, that is life. And I believe that's closing in February next year. We also did the Enchanted Tiki Room, which, look, I know it sounds a bit outdated and weird, and it is, but in the best possible way. It's 15 minutes of singing animatronic birds, flowers, and totems during what can only be described as mid-century Hawaiian lounge karaoke. It's camp, it's colourful, and it's got just enough unintentional comedy to make it brilliant. Also, and this is crucial, it's air conditioned, which means it's in the middle part of the day where your soul starts melting out through your socks. This place becomes a literal oasis. Now, me and Claire are big fans of the Polynesian Hawaiian vibes. That's why we bought into DVC into the Polynesian over in Disney World, and why I proposed to Claire in Hawaii, video coming soon. So this is naturally a favourite for us. All it's missing is Stitch, which for anyone who doesn't know is the version over in Tokyo Disneyland. Extra 10 points for that. Best one ever. So yeah, Adventureland, it's a bit compact, definitely feels busier than it should for the size, but Jungle Cruise and Indy alone makes up for the squeeze. New Orleans Square is probably one of the most atmospheric parts of Disneyland. It's got that classic Disney vibe, loads of charm, loads of detail, and loads of people trying to get a Blue Bayou reservation, which I can say we got for Claire's birthday, so score, as I remember it being quite difficult to get. I say that, Claire did most of the work, but it was definitely difficult. 60 days out, get that booking in. First up, we've got Pirates of the Caribbean. This ride is a work of art, it's long, it's immersive, and you can practically smell the pirate-infused water the second you sit down. And yes, the smell is elite. Definitely makes you think of Disney. I know you can get those scented candles, and if I was, I'd probably get a Pirates of the Caribbean one. And here's the thing, it starts with a drop in the dark. Everything about it is iconic, from the banjo player in the bayou to the slightly too enthusiastic pirate chasing animatronics. Still holds up, still a must do. I still think that skull on the headboard in the treasure room is real. If you've been before and you know what I'm talking about, and you agree, let me know in the comments below. Let's keep the spirit of this rumour alive. No pun intended. Next door you've got the Haunted Mansion, another classic, another banger, probably Claire's all-time favourite ride. Well, either this or Tower of Terror. I think it depends on what day you ask her to which one she'll say. It's spooky, sure, but in a way that makes you go, "Ah," rather than "Ah!" We've been twice, and we got the regular version and the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. Both are bangers. 10 out of 10, would recommend. Especially the Nightmare Before Christmas one, fantastic. Claire was ill at one point because she got gluten in a restaurant over the street, and we basically lost an entire day, but we made sure we went back for that. By the end of the day, guest services were really nice and let us push our work because it was like a timed window, and you had to come back between like a virtual queue. They gave us like an open one, so we came back really late in the evening after she'd had several hours of being ill. So we booked the Fantasmic dining package when we were there, which included a meal at Rancho del Zocalo, doesn't really matter, and to be honest, food wasn't great. I wanted to like it, I really did, but it felt like theme park food pretending to be restaurant food and not doing a very good job of it. You get a main, a drink, and a dessert. And you do get guaranteed seats for Fantasmic, which is the real reason to book it. The seating was actually really good. It was brilliant. A great view, no need to queue for hours. It was quite nice to get in and just sit down without having to fight for a spot. It reminded me of Tokyo Disneyland, actually, a bit in that sense. The people are there are just so polite Plus, it meant we got to open the Disney Lorcana cards we'd bought over in Main Street that day. Sad to say though, no pulls, only duds. Anyway, I digress. If I did have to do it again, I'd 100% pick a different restaurant. I think Blue Bayou and Riverbell Terrace offer packages too. And we did eat at the Blue Bayou, and I had steak, really nice. The show itself, stunning. Fire, fireworks, water projections, Mickey being dramatic. It's everything you want in a nighttime spectacular and then some. Claire described it as wet but a showstopper, and yeah, it's pretty accurate. Although we didn't get as wet as the projection show over in Pixar Pier in Disney California, but we'll talk about that next time. Pro tip, only get front row if you prepare to get wet, because we had no idea. But on this one, just be warned, depending on where you sit, you probably will get wet if you're close to the front. It's definitely worth doing the dining package though, just to avoid the scrum of people fighting over the railings with churros. Love churros. So that's New Orleans Square. It might be small, but it does pack a punch. Two of the park's best rides, a great spot for evening entertainment, and enough atmosphere to make you forget you're in California and not some alternate Disney-fied version of the Deep South. Moving on to Critter Country, which is kind of Disneyland's forgotten corner, tucked away at the back, surrounded by trees, vaguely rustic vibes, and an overwhelming sense that something used to be here. Because, well, at least when we went, something did. This is where Splash Mountain used to live, which now is Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which we haven't done. Actually, in time of recording this, we're off to Disney World in 3 days. I get to try it, so fingers crossed it's as good as Splash Mountain and people can sell bottles of water from it in 20 years time when they close it for shitloads of money on eBay. But anyway, I digress. One of the not so many rides in this area is The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which is exactly what it sounds like. Gentle, slightly psychedelic journey through the 100-acre wood, complete with bouncing tigers and that bit where everything goes full acid trip in the heffalumps and woozle scene, you know, for kids, because apparently kids would be a good target audience for acid apparently. Anyway, it's short, sweet, and honestly kind of a vibe if you're looking for something mellow or acid trippy. Still good, give it a go. There is also the Hungry Bear restaurant, which we didn't try, but the seating area does have some nice views of the rivers of America. It would probably be a pretty good spot to chill. We did get to see the toilets though. Wow, Claire did. I mentioned earlier about the brewery cafe poisoning her with the muggle pancakes. This is where we were when we found out. She vanished for what felt like a lifetime and was actually about 40 minutes, 4 degrees heat. And I had no idea what was going on. And I couldn't go check because I'm not about to walk into the women's restroom. Though I did manage to flag down a female cast member eventually to check on her. And on the topic of this, the guest services were fantastic. They're located back on Main Street. As you enter, look left on that circle bit that I very well described earlier on in the video. And like I said, we had fast passage for the Haunted Mansion. And after speaking to them, they managed to sort that out. And we actually got a free park ticket each. It must have only been like midday. And it was like basically wasted the day. So they were really nice that the fact that they did that. They weren't going to at first. And then Claire walked through the door looking like death. She was up chucking again in the restrooms next door while I was speaking to them. So I did accompany her there. It's not like I just left her. Then she caught me up and they very much took sympathy on us. We're very grateful for them for that. We ended up going back to the hotel and Claire set it off for a few hours. But we did manage to get back into the park for a couple hours later on in the evening, so we didn't need the free tickets because it was either or. And like I said, she did the Haunted Mansion again. So if you got any problems, Disney guest services are fantastic. Anyway, I digress. Critter Country felt like a landing transition, but Winnie the Pooh was doing his best, bless him. Honestly, 10 out of 10 for commitment to the chaos during the Heffalump scene. Absolute fever dream. I said, can't wait to try Tiana's Bayou Adventure, so let's move on. This one's Disneyland's take on the Wild West. Think saloons, canyons, and enough faux wood paneling to make a beaver cry. It's also home to one of the best roller coasters in the park, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. This ride is pure fun, fast, smooth, with just enough chaos to wake you up after a sleepy lap on Pooh's Honey Train. The theming is brilliant. Dynamite blasting out of the rocks, rattlesnakes, bats, goats holding TNT, you know, the usual mining hazards. We rode it during the day, but apparently at night it's even better, with the lights making the rocks glow and the whole ride feeling a little bit faster. Or maybe it's just the adrenaline. Either way, solid 10 out of 10. Also, special shout out to the goat, you know the one, legend. And also, if you're not big on roller coasters, again, if you do take this advice and it doesn't go right, don't hate me. But my mother, who does not like roller coasters in any way, shape or form, We got her to do the one in Disneyland Paris last time we took her, which we've never got to do before, and she actually quite enjoyed it. It's like bigger than Slinky Dog, not quite rock and roller coaster. It's kind of like a middle ground, so food for thought. We didn't spend a lot of time exploring the rest of Frontierland. There are a couple of slow-paced things here too, with Mark Twain Riverboat and the Sailing Ship of Columbia. Good options if you're into tranquil, vaguely educational floaty things. There was also a shooting gallery, costs a few bucks, but it's kind of low-key fun. Fantasyland is chaotic. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's pastel-coloured nostalgia fueled by fairy dust and children crying because Peter Pan has a 45-minute queue at 8 AM. But there's also a lot of charm here. This is classic Disneyland after all. Storybook rides, medieval facades, and the castle right in the middle. This is also where we had our encounter with Josh D'Amaro, silent video and all. I'd say the main attraction here is probably Peter Pan's flight. We didn't rope drop it, but it's always one of the longest queues in Fantasyland, and honestly, I'm not sure why. I'm sure there's appeal for the kids, and don't get me wrong, it's great as far as dark rides, but I don't get why it's got such a huge queue from park open to park close. If this is one that you want to do though, either rope drop it, fast pass it, or be prepared for a long wait. I'm pretty sure it was like 40 minutes to an hour for basically the whole day, every single time we've gone. Sometimes it gets longer. Not seeing it shorter, and if you do, it's going to be a rare things. There's also Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which is something else.
You ready for a wild ride?
Always, baby, with you.
No, with Mr. Toad.
Oh, okay.
It's manic, unhinged, and ends with you going to hell, literally.
Drive in. It's a wild ride, baby.
You got it, baby, you got it. Oh, it's warm in here.
Because we're in hell. Oh, it's warmer than hell in here. It's like Florida in here.
Great fun, not entirely sure who it's aimed at, but I kind of loved it for that. They got rid of this over in Disney World, so if you want to ride it, this is the place to do it. To be honest, it gave me similar vibes to the Who Framed Roger Rabbit ride over in Mickey's Toontown. Or should I say that's the other way round, really, seeing as this one came first, but that's nitpicking, you know what I mean. But if you enjoy this one, you'll enjoy that one. We also did Pinocchio and Snow White, both very dark, both very short, both very, wow, these fairy tales are pretty grim, but I suppose that's 19th century German fairy tales for you. Snow White's had a bit of a facelift recently. It's called Enchanted Wish now, which is code for we made it 20% less nightmare fuel. Don't know why I did that in air quotes. I don't think they actually quoted that, but that's the gist of what's happened. I mean, it's still spooky in parts, but great use of projection tech. But apparently kids these days just aren't as hard as we were as kids. We were, you know, running outside, bicycles, all that, you know. God, I sound old. I'm not midlife, honestly. I'm still 15 at heart. That's why I go to Disney. Now, let's talk about the Matterhorn. I know it's iconic. I know it was the world's first tubular steel coaster, but my spine has a different opinion. Honestly, a bit overrated. It's bumpy, cramped, feels like being dragged through a snowstorm in a shopping trolley. The theming's cool and the Yeti's fun, but I wouldn't queue for more than 20 minutes for it again. Maybe 25 if I've done something to deserve some punishment. I didn't fit, it was awkward, it hurt. I mean, I say that, I did it a couple of times just because we were there, but I came off it, you know, it wasn't great. I can see the nostalgia and I can see why people like it, but if you're a bit older and you're not as supple and you value not being in pain, this isn't the ride for you, put it that way. We also did the Storybook Land canal boats, the little ride that goes through Monstro's mouth, very chill. You float past miniature villages from Disney movies while a cast member narrates the whole thing like it's a BBC nature documentary. I enjoyed it, nothing to write home about. There's also Dumbo and the Carousel. They're mostly the same as Walt Disney World. Great for kids, but there's only so many times I need to do these, and I've already done them several. Saying that, I wouldn't turn my nose up at these if there was no queue, or they were a walk-on. Dumbo doesn't have the playground like it has in Walt Disney World as far as I'm aware, so there is that. Oh, and of course, who could forget It's a Small World? Yes, the song that gets stuck in your head, and no, there's no cure. But I will say this, the Disneyland version is actually quite nice. The facade is beautiful, it's long enough to feel like a proper break, and if you look closely, there are little Disney characters blended into the scenes. They spotted Stitch, I spotted Existential Dread. I swear Fitz jokes are awful. But it is nice having the characters scattered about makes it a little bit more interesting. They should do it in Disney World, definitely. And the one in Disneyland Tokyo we did, they actually did a group one, and that was cool. Same concept, looking for group throughout all the scenes, pretty good. I think it was a limited time thing. But yeah, Fantasyland, it's crowded, chaotic, but incredibly charming. If you've got a soft spot for classic Disney films and tolerance for slow-moving dark rides that hit just right, this is your spot. Just pack patience and maybe a chiropractor for the Matterhorn. But saying that, you've got to do Fantasyland. It's not a trip to Disneyland or Magic Kingdom or any of the staple flagship parks in any of the Disney theme parks around the world without doing Fantasyland. It's quintessential Disney at the end of the day, so take it off the list. Mickey's Toontown recently got a bit of a facelift. We caught it just after it happened on our first trip, but from what I've seen and heard, it hasn't lost any of the chaos. It's still full of just as many bright colours and very loud children, but it does definitely have a lot of charm. Everything's a bit more interactive now, loads of playful elements for kids to run around and smack with reckless abandon, and the landscaping makes it feel very open. I enjoyed it here. I'd go as far as saying it's one of my favourite parts of the park. I suppose that's because it's Mickey's neighbourhood, isn't it? So listen to that. Isn't it fun? That's my brummy coming out of me. Anyway, moving on. The main attraction here is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and yes, we did it, and yes, I am about to say something controversial. The Disneyland version is better than the one at Walt Disney World. This is where I'm supposed to pause for dramatic effect. Can you feel that? Anyway, there, I said it, and I'm going to tell you why. The queue. It's not just some reused building like Florida's version. This is the El Capitan Theatre, packed with Disney references, cartoon posters, and genuinely clever visual gags. Don't get me wrong, I love the ride itself.
Nothing can stop us now. I tell you how we're gonna make it happen.
Same trackless setup, some catchy music, same goofy energy chaos. It's basically a carbon copy of the one in Disney World. You'd struggle to find a difference. But the queue here actually adds to the experience instead of feeling like you've wandered into an old movie soundstage that forgot it retired. Justice for the great movie ride. By the way, you were weird, you were slow and wonderful, and I only got to ride you once as a child, but you were great, and it is a shame it's gone. But Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, it's a great ride, so no harm, no foul. Like I said before, this area is based off Mickey's neighbourhood, so you've got Mickey and Minnie, Goofy's house, I think Donald Duck's house is there as well, and they all come and do meet and greets outside their houses. We didn't do the meet and greets because, you know, I'm an adult and they are just dudes and dudettes in costumes. But Mickey and Minnie are usually floating around here if that's your thing.
It's Mickey's house.
And Minnie's house.
Minnie's house? Oh, they don't get to live together then.
No, they have separate beds and everything.
They've got very different houses.
That's how Donald was able to go around.
Honestly, I think this land is mainly designed for families with small kids, but it's got enough charm and just enough chaos to be worth the stroll. And I'm a big kid at heart, so I felt right at home. There are a few play areas as well, so there's a couple of play areas for the kiddies to play in. As I said, it's mainly geared around children. Like Disney is. No, it's not. Disney's for adults. Disney's for adults. Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin is also tucked away here. Basically a dark ride where you spin your cab around as you go. It's fun, it's chaotic, a bit dizzying, worth it if the line's short, but not a must-do. Saying that, I did enjoy it. We did it a couple of times, but we had Genie Plus or the Fast Pass. I forget what they're called. They keep changing their names. So the first time we queued up, and then we did it a couple of times after, but it was always a Fast Pass, so it was a walk-on. Don't skip it. You got to tick everything off the list, don't you? So there's also Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster, a quick little kiddie ride. Blink and you'll miss it, but if you've got young kids or you just want to say you've ridden everything in the park, it's a fun bonus. Like I said, tick it off the list. So naturally we did that. If you've been to Disney World, think Barnstormer, very similar in size and scope and how fast this goes. So if you've done one, you can, you know, again, roller coaster for kiddies. It's my first roller coaster. So Toontown's not somewhere you'll spend hours. If you are a Disney fan, a ride nerd, or just want to appreciate a queue that's actually fun, Runaway Railway is worth the stop. Plus, it's a nice break from the aggressively realistic vibes of things like Galaxies Edge right next door. And I should also mention Daisy's Cafe. You can get a gluten-free flop over, which is like a pizza, calzone, which flops over, hence the name. Creative. You can get gluten-free. We went there once or twice. Claire had the pepperoni one. She really enjoyed it. I mean, especially if you're gluten-free, definitely make a trip. It wasn't the best. It wasn't like knock out the park, theme park food, but gluten-free options are always more limited. And if you want pizza, good place to go.
See what the hype's about then.
So many layers, it's like unwrapping a present for my birthday.
Gluten-free.
Yeah.
That does look good.
I'm with them. I don't believe them that it's gluten-free. That is what I've been dreaming of.
That's what you've been dreaming of.
Tomorrowland is Disneyland's vision of the future, as imagined by someone in the 70s who's just watched Tron and said, yep, that'll do. That said, there's a lot going on here. Rides, neon lights, a Star Wars holdover, and an unexpected place to sit down and pretend you're not slightly dying from walking 25,000 steps and it's only the middle of the afternoon. We started with Space Mountain because, obviously, it's dark, it's fast, and somehow still one of the smoothest coasters Disney's ever built. Also, it's pitch black, so there's a 40% chance you'll spend the entire ride screaming at absolutely nothing or making contact with no one. This one's a must-do in my opinion. You've also got Star Tours, the original motion simulator. Now they say you get a different experience each time, but to be honest, we've done the ride countless times across multiple parks, and 3/4 of the time we get the same few versions. I mean, it's in Disney World, Disneyland, Paris. I'm not sure if there's one in Tokyo, but there's definitely one in those three. And normally, with exception, it's usually quite a short queue. So there's been times where we've just been on and then on and on and done it a few times. It's like a 5-minute wait, especially if you catch it at the right time of the day. And like most of the time, it's usually the same ones. I mean, we have got ones we haven't seen before on occasion, but that's not often. It doesn't mean it isn't fun, because it is, and definitely want to try. Just don't have high hopes getting the different versions every time, because you won't. It's got to the point with us where if we go on, it's a big achievement if we've had a new one, because most of the time it's just the same 4 or 5, slightly different. But the way it works is you'll take off from a certain area with a certain mission, and then you'll go to one planet and then another planet, and then somebody will come across the hollow thing, and like they'll mix and match them, but they tend to be the same ones. So yeah, but it's good to do if you've never done it. Worth a try. As I said, good fun. And it's always fun if you've got kids, because they pick out a person who is usually a bit a stowaway on board, and they usually pick one of the kids. Next up, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, where you sit in a slow moving car and judge your hand-eye coordination in real time.
All done. But look how well you did, baby. You did very well. Didn't you? No grumpy face. It might be your birthday, but no grumpy face. I did okay. You did okay.
We also did Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage, which I'd never done before. It's unique, I'll give it that. At least it was the first time we went, but we went to Tokyo Disney in between, and in Tokyo Disney Sea, I believe it's called 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which is practically the same ride, just without Nemo. You squeeze into a literal submarine with strangers, stare out of a porthole, and watch Nemo get repeatedly lost while projections and bubbles try their very best and fail most of the time. It's charming, slightly claustrophobic, and I'm a big bloke, so it's a struggle to get in and out.
It's a bit tight, a bit cramped. Oh.
Deep water
When we were there, we meant to try Alien Pizza Planet, mostly for the theming and because we're suckers for Toy Story reference. Other than Toy Story 4, do not mention that to Claire. Talk about character assassination when it comes to Woody. We didn't realise at the time that you could get gluten-free pizza, which is one of the reasons we didn't do it. We wanted to, it looked cool. Didn't think we could feed Claire. But that said, I did check. No, we're not there. And they do have gluten-free pizza options on request. So I think that's going to be our restaurant of choice the next day we spend in Disneyland, which will be next year probably, or the year after, but we will be back. So this will segue me into the next point, which is the DVC lounge. There's a balcony where you can sit upstairs and you can see it, so we use that quite a few times if you sit outside and you can see it, and we were looking at it longingly, not knowing that Claire could in fact either. So there you go. But yeah, segue. So top tip, if you are a Disney Vacation Club member, is to use Tomorrowland DVC lounge. We stopped in here a lot. It's quiet, cool, there's charging points, comfy seats, free fizzy drinks, tea, coffee, snacks, although the snacks tend to be like Oreos or Cheez-Its for some reason. I don't understand how people eat that. They just smell like feet. I don't know what feet taste like. I imagine they taste like Cheez-Its, but to each their own. And neither of those are gluten-free, but again, if you are gluten-free, you can just ask a cast member and then we'll bring out some gluten-free crisps. It was great. Went in there most days, middle of the day. I'm an old man. I need my rest. There was once or twice I genuinely debated never leaving. If you're like me and your knees start filing complaints by midday and your calves are hurting, this is an absolute lifesaver. Lifesaver. And that multiple times on multiple occasions here. It was either this or the hotel, which was a 10-minute walk, but this was in the park, so win-win. They don't always have space. You do have to go up and request. And if you want to know exactly where it is, there is usually DVC cast members there that will greet you and ask for your name. And it's also the entrance to where you can go and meet Darth Vader. So you go up the ramp and then you queue to the left for Darth Vader. Usually Darth Vader, at least it was when we were there. And then the right you go through DVC. And it's like a Disney hotel, actually. The foyer, in the sense of they have a little seating area for the kids and they put like the Mickey and Friends cartoons on as well. And there's nice toilets in there. Yeah, great. Check it out if you're there and you are DVC, of course. Tomorrowland was a mixed bag in the best way. Fast rides, old favourites, and the one place in the park where you can drink a Coke in a beanbag chair and pretend your spine isn't crumbling. I recommend that being DVC. I mean, there are other options to sit down. If you're not DVC, there's a couple of restaurants. So there was, I can't remember the name of it. There's a restaurant in the middle and we sat there and we got lunch the one day. But yeah, Tomorrowland's great. It's a classic. It's, you know, it's OG Disney. So I'll be honest, we didn't spend a huge amount of time in Galaxies End during either of our trips. And that's mainly because we've already done it extensively in Florida. The layout here in Disneyland is almost a carbon copy of the one in Disney World. Same theming, same rides, same people dressed like smugglers spending $300 on lightsabers. This mug included. I have got a video in the description if you want to check that out and see what it's like, because it's actually pretty decent, even though I make that joke. The only real main difference is the way the land fits into the park, with slightly different entry points and a few layout tweaks to fit the land around Frontierland and Fantasyland. But overall, if you've done it once, it's still cool, but not essential to redo every time you go. We popped in, did the ride, had a walk round to see that it was the same thing. And yeah, so we've been twice. And the first time we went, I think we popped in just for 5 minutes just to say we had. And it wasn't until the second trip when we actually spent some time in there. So, but as I said, we've done Disney World a few times and done Galaxy's Edge to death. So there is that. And that doesn't reflect on the quality of the land. The quality of the land's fantastic. The theming, everything about it is very well done. It's not as good as Pandora, but it is up there with the level of detail and how well they've done it. Moving on to the rides, that said, we did ride Rise of the Resistance because obviously it's still one of the most impressive things Disney's ever built when it's running. You know, the scale, the transitions, the sheer number of, wait, is this still the queue moments? Because like you go in, you see Ray and BB-8. I said BB mate because we again spent ages and we got a droid and his name's BB mate for those who don't know. And you get on a cruiser and then you're in another bigger ship and you get interrogated, blah blah blah, and then the ride starts. Don't want to give too much away if you haven't done it, but it's fantastic. Definitely do it. This is one of the few rides in Disney World where this and Flight of Passage are the ones that we tend to always pay the Genie Plus or Fast Pass or whatever they're calling it these days to do. And with this one, because it's trackless, it's notorious for breaking down. And if you're waiting for 2 hours or an hour or however long it is, because it's usually quite a long wait time, and you get 3/4 through and the ride breaks down and it's not back up, you're either stuck waiting around for ages or you wasted that time. So we always pay for it. So there you go. Next up, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which I maintain is one of the most stressful rides in the park. Not because of the ride system, but because you'll be randomly assigned to fly the Falcon with strangers. That said, it is pretty cool, the queue going in, and then you go in and you're actually in the Millennium Falcon. You can see where Han and Chewie play holo chess, I believe it's called. But there are 3 options. You can either get pilot, engineer, or gunman, shooter, whatever you want to call them. Claire and I were engineers the first time we did it here. In fact, the only time we did it, because we've only done it once here, because we've done it like 5 times over in Disney World. So we were engineers, which basically means fixing everything people up front smash into, which is just flashy buttons, press the buttons. The advantage with that is you can push it and you can still see what's going on. It's an easy job, unlike piloting where it's inverted and it's like playing the PlayStation with inverted controllers. If you're one of those people who plays inverted controllers, you're a psychopath. I said it. Fight me in the comments if you don't agree. When we actually got pilots, we were awful, especially Claire. I'll blame her and ignore my own shortcomings because we did awful. Awful. But decent when we were there because the engineers, because you have to press buttons. We have done all 3, and the back 2 are very interactive. The shooting's not too bad, so you press the button and you see it fire on the screen in front of you. I say the screen, you're flying a spaceship. So that's cool because there's at least an interactive element to that. But the engineer, you're at the back and you just press buttons, and then at the end you get a percentage of how well you repaired the ship. It's a bit naff in that respect. We seem to get that more often than the other 2. Don't know why. Just luck of the draw, I guess. That said, it is fun, especially when you don't take it too seriously. If you're hoping to do a perfect run, good luck. Don't pick pilot, because most of the owners is on you. Never done a perfect run, probably never will. We also visited the infamous blue and green milk, because we're nothing if not gluttons for punishment. Blue's fruity and frozen, like a tropical slushy. Green tastes, I don't know, floral. Like what a hotel soap thinks fruit should taste like, but not very good. We did both again just to see if our opinions had changed. They hadn't, but still, do it once. Buy one to share so you can all taste it. You don't need an entire one to yourself. You can get like, I'm sure you can get like refillable, like souvenir cups with it. You don't need that. Well, if you're into that, you do it, but it just, if I've got the other Star Wars stuff like the from OGA'S Cantina, which is there again. OGA'S Cantina is fantastic. I will put a link to our Star Wars day. If you want more information on Star Wars, I will link it to a 3-part episode of us spending the entire park day, like 12 hours in the Disney World version, which is exactly the same as this, as I said, minus the entrance and exit, and like this path might wind slightly different. Other than that, it's carbon copy. We did everything. We got lightsabers. We ate at both the restaurants. I forget what they're called. Put the names on the screen. We went to the shop. We did Smuggler's Run. We did Rise of the Resistance. I bought a droid, so we did the droid thing, and we took him around BB Mate, and that was great. Again, I'll put the link in the description because there's no need to go it all over again. You want to know? The video is for you. So that was our trip to Disneyland California, and I've got to say, it's still something special. From the classic rides in Fantasyland to the chaotic charm of Toontown, to getting roasted by Indiana Jones and my own spine giving in on the Matterhorn. It really is a park packed with history, detail, and just the right amount of organised chaos. If you're planning your own trip, here are a few quick fire tips. Number 1, use Genie Plus, or whatever I think it's still called Genie Plus. It's not perfect, but it helps avoid some of the longer queues. We found that we'd rack up slots in the morning and shift them to later on in the day. I know it's a little cheeky, but that's what we did. You know, this meant we could relax to start, head to the DVC lounge or back to the hotel before heading back and pumping out a bunch of rides with next to no wait. You book your ride, and then before your window closes you can shift it to a later time. So we did that, and there was a few occasions where we went back and we had like 4 or 5, so it was kind of like we'd spend the morning exploring, relax in the afternoon, and then go back on the evening and do 4 or 5 rides. That was the way we did it, and I very much enjoyed that, and my knees and my back and me being an old man appreciated that. Tip number 2, mobile ordering is your best friend. Like, seriously, skip the lines and plan ahead. Don't just rock up and wait in a queue for 20 minutes. You can go on your phone and get the app. I know Disney tries to get you in the app and everybody's walking around like a zombie like this, but you know, go on, pick your restaurant, pick what you want to eat, get your order time, go back at the order time, you go back, you check in, and then within a few minutes you can just walk up and pick your food up. It's loads easier. Don't queue up with the Philistines and all the old people that don't know how to use a phone. Be modern. This is the 21st century. This is 2025. God damn it. Tip number 3, if you've got food allergies, speak up early. Double check everything. You know, just let them know. The food apps, the mobile ordering will list things as gluten-free, so you don't need to worry about it there. But if you do go to any of the restaurants and you have any queries or you're unsure, Disney's great when it comes to food, and the staff and the cast members, should I say, tend to be really good with that, and they'll help and they'll sort it out. We've never had a problem in Disney itself. One of the reasons Claire likes going to Disney is the food, and that she feels safe eating what we eat there. I don't think there's ever been an occasion. The only times Claire's ever been glutened on holidays outside of Disney, like when we went to Brewery Cafe across the street. So if you're going to places like that, be careful. Obviously be careful everywhere, but you know, Disney's pretty good for that. And then finally, Take breaks, whether it's the DVC lounge, a sit-down ride like Small World, or a cheeky nap in Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. Your feet and brain will thank you. Disney's long. If you're there for multiple days and you're doing 20, 30, 40,000 steps, we've racked up that many in a day before, especially if you're rope dropping and you're there till park close watching the fireworks. It's extremely tiring. Don't overdo it. Weather can be really hot. We went during a heat wave. Hydrate, stay cool. There are neck fans you can get to help with that. You can get cooling towels, all kinds of things. Make sure you wear a hat, make sure you wear sunscreen. Don't need to say these things, but the California Anaheim heat can be unbearable sometimes, especially if you're going at the time of year when it's hot, or you get a heat wave like we did last year where it was like 35-40 degrees, and it was awful in that respect, so bear that in mind. Anyway, in the next video, we're hopping across the California Adventure, which, like I said at the beginning of this video, is my favorite of the two because it's a little bit more unique. We'll dive into the Avengers Campus, Pixar Pier, Radiator Springs, and I'll let you know whether or not Web Slingers is worth that upper body workout, because if you've never done it, it's knackering. And after that, we're flying west to Aulani, Disney's resort in Hawaii, for a proper recharge. So thanks for sticking around. I hope this gave you a proper feel for what Disneyland's like, especially if you're planning your first trip or trying to decide between the parks. As always, if you found this helpful or even just mildly entertaining with all of my awful jokes, again, if you like them and you want me to keep doing it, put it in the comments. Please do the usual YouTube thing, like, subscribe, comment below, send it to your gran, you know the drill. Always trying to beat that algorithm, and the faster I can get this channel up and going to the point where it's self-sustaining, the more of these I can do, and I can actually start pumping out these videos on a regular basis rather than a bit sporadic like they have been. I know in my last video I said they were coming. Most of the house is done. As you can see, I'm in a nice new room and we've got a lot coming up, so yeah, like and subscribe. Even if you just comment to call me an idiot, I'll take it. You know, engagement into engagement as far as YouTube algorithm is concerned. And then if you have been to Disneyland recently, let me know what your favorite bit was, or tell me if I'm completely wrong about the Matterhorn. Either way, I'll see you in the next one.